Welcome, students of Form 3. My name is Theo Martin and I work for the SKAIH Pre-University or Pre-Universitario or even SPU. And at SPU for Caribbean history, we use the CSEC system. So if you are at a school in Barbados, Jamaica, or another place in the Caribbean, and you guys use the CSEC system for Caribbean history, this could also be useful. Yes. Then, what we're talking about, African cultural forms and the social relations within slave society. So these topics are we talking about in this video. Which verbs are we using, describing, explaining, and identifying we are using in our objectives. Speaking of our objective, over here, describing the social relations. So what were the different groups in society and how did they interact in the slave societies of the Caribbean until the year 1838, until the year of full emancipation in the British Caribbean. Before that, there was the apprenticeship system. The year of abolition was officially 1832, if I'm not mistaken, but end of apprenticeship took a while until the real year of emancipation, 1838, that year. That is over here. So the real year of emancipation is here, 1838. So this is our objective. Now let's look at our question that I've thought of, connected to this objective. Describe in at least 9 extensive phrases, thinking about your grammar, thinking about your words, thinking about your spelling, a capital and a period at each end of a phrase, how color, occupation, the job you had, and legal status, how the law regarded you, grouped all people in the Caribbean, again, up to the year 1838. We've talked about that just a few seconds before. And if you want to find more information about this topic, you can find it at page 38 of your study guide, Caribbean History for CSEC, or page 58 and 60 of Caribbean History for CSEC. Study guide and the Caribbean History for CSEC book. Yes, I think that's clear. We're going to talk about the answer in 3 parts. Some things I'm going to underscore just to put some accents there. Color determined everything in the Caribbean and was closely connected to certain occupations and the legal status that someone had in society. So this answer is connected to this question. Determined everything, occupations, legal status, yes? Okay. Whites had the highest status in society. They could take place in the assembly and the councils of the islands. Non-whites, that was a big group in the middle and at the bottom, mixed race and African people couldn't take part in the assemblies of the Caribbean, couldn't be chosen, couldn't elect, and were further grouped, divided by their occupations. Among the African slaves, domestic slaves had higher standing than those working on the fields. So amongst the African slaves, there were further divisions determined by your occupation as a slave. Freed Africans that were farmers or craftsmen, so freed Africans that were free, that were farmers or craftsmen, had other occupations, had more status than all of the slaves as a whole. So the slaves, and you had the freed Africans. The freed Africans were farmers or craftsmen, like I say here. Although Africans had possibilities to improve their standing. So they had possibilities to gain more status and standing in society. Their legal status would always be determined by the color of their skin. And when we look at their legal status, this would always be determined by the color of their skin. This led to harder and harsh punishments for colored people. Just because of the color of their skin, their legal status was different from white people. Okay, I hope you found this answer helpful. If you have questions about this answer, ask them below. If you have remarks, improvements, tips, feedback, I'm always open to that. If you have questions for me in person, ask them in class. And if you want, you can also use Google Classroom, or even next school year, if you're watching this in next school year, you can use Windows 365 and send me an email. Hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you soon alive and kicking during class.